Ernie, what up?
Hey, man, I'm here just going the social distance. Look at me with my shirt, going the social distance here during the COVID. Anyways, man, hey, another show. We got a good show for us lined up. Talk about umpiring and the process to become an umpire. Man, we got 3 umpires here from South Florida, and also Jeremy Hernandez is going to be on here, who works with the FHSAA with the officiating. So it's going to be awesome, man. Hey, last week was great, man, and Freddie Zamora, what a good dude, and what a great personality, and what a just a great person, man, having that interaction with him, man.
Oh yeah, man. My mom watches the show, and she was just floored by Freddie. She was like, "Wow, what a nice kid, what a young man." And my mom is a 66-year-old Peruvian woman. I think she's a little older, but I didn't want to put a bigger number on her. And she loved him, and I thought it was great.
Awesome.
And I can't wait to see where he goes. We saw he came out as the number 100. And Victor Medeiros, another Miami guy, is 99. So I think it's exciting.
Interesting.
And hopefully these guys get picked up and get the money they deserve, and they can represent South Florida, properly. And it was an honor to have them on. So, let's
absolutely,
get these guys in the waiting room on. You ready for them?
Yeah, let's go. Hey, by the way, nice participation trophies you got going on back there.
Well, yes. So we have our Yard Talk logo and our digital screen, but I felt like showing the public all the 8th place trophies that I got in my life.
Participation. That's awesome.
Absolutely. A lot of purple ribbons here.
Awesome.
There we go.
Awesome.
Let's get these guys in. Admit all. Here, I'm getting good at this. I'm getting dangerous.
You are the man.
There they go.
Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Doing well. Thank you for having us.
We got, like we were talking about, we got a group on here, 3 umpires from South Florida, and also Mr. Jeremy Hernandez, who we're going to start with. And I think I said your title was Vice President of Officiating of HSBN. Did I just give you a raise?
You may have, or given me a new job.
Oh, wow. Well, could you tell us what your actual title is before I keep butchering myself and get fined here by the FHSAA?
For sure, no problem. Jeremy Hernandez with the Florida High School Athletic Association. I am the Assistant Director of Officials.
Assistant? I thought you were the man. DJ, I thought you were going to get us the main guy.
Yeah, he doesn't like me. Everyone up there doesn't like me. Jeremy's the only one that hasn't found out.
Again, DJ made the wrong call again. This is incredible. But all kidding aside, Jeremy, can you tell us what exactly is your role there at the Florida High School Athletic Association?
So my role, help with recruiting of officials, help with getting officials registered for the upcoming seasons, making sure they're getting the new material or any changes that come out from the federation, making sure that our officials are getting tested through our arbiter system where they register, making sure that everyone is doing what they need to basically on that aspect, so that we don't have officials who aren't registered or who aren't doing the rules tests and things like that showing up out on the field or the court, depending on whatever sport is. So I have my hands full throughout the days and the weeks, but that's my job. That's part of the job. That's what I signed up for, and I love it. My dad was a baseball umpire from the time I remember I started playing. So I've been around the game forever, or played baseball myself. So stepping into it was nothing shocking to me, so to speak.
And you do all athletics, or just baseball and softball, or how does that work?
All officials for all sports. So football, volleyball, wrestling, track and field, lacrosse, all of the sports. Yes, sir.
So you have roughly how many officials in the state of Florida for all athletics?
For all athletics, we had roughly 7,900 officials that registered this year. And
you got,
and as you know, there are areas that are still short for certain sports and struggle to get enough men and women out on the courts, on the fields, on the mats to get games and matches played. So even though that number is high and we're like, holy smokes, that's almost 8,000, it's still sometimes difficult for associations to cover all the games and things that they need to cover throughout the week.
Well, I know down here in Miami-Dade County with as many schools that we have, and charter schools and private schools and public schools, it's ridiculous the amount of schools we have here. And, you know, our JVs are limited because we got to play on Saturdays because of the shortage of officials, you know. So can you explain what is the process because there's a lot of guys that might not go play college baseball. There's a lot of guys that might be working. They might want to do this as a part-time situation. How would they go about it?
So the first step would to be there in Miami. I don't know if it's a little easier, but with the Greater Miami Athletic Conference, GMAC, housing both athletics and sports, their situation is a little unique. You're able just to go into contact one office, so to speak, to get things going. So for the Miami area, it's a little easier. I guess I can say, you would contact them, get in touch with them. Obviously, let them know. Everyone has to get a JLA badge. Obviously, to be able to step on the campuses and things like that. And that's a level 2 background screening and fingerprints that's required by state law. So that would be the first one, basically. And then once that happens, DJ and GMAC will have that prospect individual reach out to our office, get registered through the state level. And as the season approaches, they would take the rules exam for the season, and then any on-field trainings that GMAC or their local area is holding. Because I'm assuming this is a podcast and anybody can hear it. So I want to make sure I brought in my areas, but so wherever that local area is, they would get the training and on-field work and experience through them. So that's kind of in short what it entails. And then obviously getting the gear and things like that. And unfortunately for baseball, with all the gear that you need to be behind the plate, your out-of-pocket cost is a lot higher than some of the other sports, obviously, where you need maybe a T-shirt, the whistle, or something like that, depending on what the sport is. Obviously, for baseball, you need a mask, the umpire's chest, the shoes, the ball bags, and things like that. So out-of-pocket costs right up front is usually a big, I don't want to say issue, but a sticking point for an individual who hasn't made anything yet to get over when they're spending $200, $300, $400 on that gear, but haven't received a single paycheck yet. So that's one of the big problems for baseball and softball, so to speak.
T-shirt, a whistle, and binoculars, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, because I mean, the good thing about this podcast, it gets placed on HSBN, which covers the whole state of Florida. So it's definitely, hopefully, there's somebody out there that's outside of Miami-Dade County that might be interested. I guess the best thing would be them contact their local high school athletic association, like down here is GMAC, Broward is the BCAA, I think it is, something of that nature. So
correct. And for areas that aren't or individuals not in the Miami area or Broward where it's housed under the schools, they would probably want to contact our office first, because not all the different counties have an association housed under that county. So it could be called something completely different. For example, let's go Escambia County. They could have an association that's called like Panhandle Officials Association or something like that. So you wouldn't really know that it's tied to that area. So depending on where you are in the state, it could be a little bit different. So if you are outside of the Miami area or the Broward area and you're listening to us, you would want to contact the FHSAA first.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, if any questions, honestly, you could call FHSAA or email FHSAA. for any information.
Yes,
Because
sir.
there is, like you said, there is a shortage. And, it's like you walk into one of these umpire meetings, at least in baseball, and you see that most of these guys are close to retirement, to be nice. And I think we definitely need new blood and guys with a lot of energy, whether they're wrong or right. It's not the issue. Is that we need more bodies there to learn the game and be able to for us to play more games, honestly, and get more coverage. Because if they're willing to work and they're willing to learn, I know our group here does a lot. The group of umpires down here do a lot of clinics and stuff, and they will learn and become, I don't want to say great umpires, I'll say, okay.
He's just getting started, folks. He's just getting started.
We'll get to play games. How about that? But yeah, and Rich, you got a couple questions for Jeremy?
Yeah, Jeremy. First of all, thank you for joining us. I know you've got to have a hectic schedule right now with Zoom meetings and all the different sports. And one of our big talking points for the last, I guess, 3 or 4 weeks that we've been doing the show is the impact, of COVID-19 and more importantly, the decision that FHSAA put forth to just end the season, because it was, there were some moments that a lot of us coaches and the seniors and the parents were like, hey, maybe we get to come back to the playoffs. Hey, maybe we get to do this. And so all we've been able to talk about is our point of view, players, parents, coaches, but we haven't been able to hear how difficult of a decision it was for FHSAA and how it affected you guys and all the things that you had to go through and think about to make that final call, which, where we're sitting right now in the landscape of how it is, it was the right call,
Yeah, and that was part of the reason why we as the FHSAA waited as long as we did, because we didn't want to take it from the student athletes. We didn't want to take it from the coaches. We didn't want to take it from the communities. Because if we knew if we called it too early, and then a week later, 2 weeks later, things changed and we were back out there and school was back in session and things like that, it wouldn't look good and it wouldn't have been fair. And would we have been backpedaling, trying to get things back going? That was something that we didn't want to even have to worry about. So that is one of the reasons why we did wait so long. I know there was people on the other side of the fence after 2, 3, 4 weeks. Oh, they just need to be done with it and let's move on, give them an answer type of deal. But it was definitely a hard decision to do, because we do have parents in the office. There it's just not administrative staff. We do have parents. We do have individuals who have kids who play sports. Myself, I have a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old, and just comparing the differences when my 9-year-old was in preschool and now my 4-year-old is in preschool. One got a graduation. My other one didn't really get a graduation. We just experienced the drive-through graduation that we had this morning for him. And so that was something that we really did take into consideration, and the main reason why we did wait as long as we did to make that ultimate decision once the mayor came in and kind of closed down school, said everybody was doing virtual learning and things like that. That's ultimately when we decided that was kind of our only option of, once things shut down, was that's what we had to do. But we didn't want to overstep our boundaries. We didn't want to overstep or cross out of our lane, if you want to say that, because we knew the other side, if things changed, it would look even worse for us.
I got a quick question. Did you guys ever, and I know there was talk about it, but I guess my question is, how serious was the consideration of reclassification for the seniors and for students?
That was actually a topic yesterday, I guess the last 2 days, for the board of directors. And that was a big discussion. Our eligibility and compliance department spoke about it probably for a week or two, once DOE and the governor had kind of said what they had said at the beginning, about students being able to come back and things like that. So as soon as that was said, our eligibility and compliance team got on it to see what could be done to be able to do that, and ultimately with the representative assembly and that statute or that policy from them being changed, that's kind of what was the ultimate outcome. But it was a major talking point for that department for a while.
You know, it's a tough decision not to reclassify, but it would have been an even tougher decision to reclassify if you understand, because I'm seeing it. You know, we had one of our first shows on here was dealing with college coaches talking about that same issue, getting that extra year, and how some guys have 50 guys on a roster, 40 guys on a roster. They don't know if they could, honor those scholarships, this, that, and the other thing. It just would have been a little messy, to be honest with you. So, I commend you guys holding, sticking to your guns and saying no reclassification, sticking to your rules. And it's a shame. It's we all went through it, but I think you guys did the right thing, to be honest with you, because it's not going to create a logjam later down the road. Because then the junior says, no, I want to reclassify, and everybody's reclassifying, and then the eighth grader, and it just becomes a mess.
And that was one of the things when we were, or when eligibility and compliance was listening to everybody, was one of the things of, okay, well, what happens when we have all these athletes on our roster, or what happens with playing time? How do we handle that, and things like that? So that was one of the things that they were hearing. And that was talked to in our department, some of our department meetings, of things that was being shared with us from the athletic side. But so yeah, none of this has been easy, and hopefully, people. I don't even know how to say it. Like, we understand the frustrations. And just hopefully everyone understands this hasn't been easy from a governing body for us either. So again, a lot of us have kids. We do understand, and hopefully with kind of how it will or won't, however it does turn out, it's just kind of understood, or it's difficult. We know it's difficult. So.
Jeremy, I had a question for you, man. I mean, like, we know we keep putting you in a tough spot, and we appreciate your candor.
This was not what the show's supposed to be about. Why'd you go there? It was my fault. Sorry.
How big was age for a senior taken into consideration? Because yes, they can reclassify, but for normal FHSAA rulings, you can't be 19 before you start the school year. So how big was that of an issue? Like, okay, does this guy who turns 19 2 days after, or now he's going to be 20? Like, was that a big talking point, or was it not? That's just a personal question that I had.
Honestly, I didn't get really into the weeds of it, because I am in the athletic side of it, and a lot of it was done by the eligibility and compliance department. So the specifics like that, unfortunately, I don't know how far in depth it went. I know the board of directors kind of spoke on it yesterday. I don't know if you were able to listen in or catch that yet. I believe it's posted and it was live. But one of the questions that did come up was, if we even give a semester to the spring athletes, does that really help them? Because that would just be for the fall.
Well, yeah.
And then they would be graduated, and they still wouldn't have they still wouldn't have the spring semester anyway. So that was one thing that did come up yesterday with the board. And that technically, if you wanted to give them another spring semester, you'd be basically giving them a year. And so I know that came up in the board, but as far as the age, and how in depth that was, I don't have a good answer for you on that.
I asked because it was when my seniors heard that they might have the possibility to reclassify. I had one or two that were like, no, we're going to college, we're going to play, that's fine. But I had a couple others that were like, no, we want to come back. But I started looking at their age, and I said, Bob, you're going to turn 20. I don't know how this is going to fly. Like, I don't know. So I was like, just in my small sample size, I was like, man, this has got to be a can of worms. And
Yeah.
I always felt that even though there was a possibility that there might be reclassification, I was like, man, to do that, wow. It'd be crazy to fathom that age and semesters and consecutive semesters. And I think, I mean, you're putting 20-year-olds on the field. Now your liability of a kid getting hurt.
For sure.
You're just a lot.
For sure.
Well,
yeah.
I had 12 seniors this year, and I asked each of them if they would come back, and all 14 of them said no. They don't want no part of me again. So there you go. So.
Oh, you put them in JV when they're in 12th grade. Why are they going to want to come back?
True. Jeremy, I thank you, man. This is, again, really helpful, specifically, the COVID answers, but definitely the how someone that's interested in becoming an official in any sport. Obviously, we're talking baseball here, but it's crucial that people get that information, and they could go on the Florida High School Association website and, click your name, email you, or just more general information, man. So I know your time is valuable. If you want to stick around, we're going to laugh at DJ now, but if you want to stick around, man, please do so. We got 3 guys on here, 3 of the best umpires in South Florida, 3 of the best.
But there you go.
But we're gonna start with these 3, and when those other 3s come on here, we'll put them on.
Yes.
We have DJ Briner, Mr. Jason Abreu, and Alex Sotolongo. We have the past, the present, and the future. You guys pick which one. I know Alex.
Yeah, I was gonna ask where are we getting on there, but.
Hey guys,
hey Ernie.
Oh yes.
Hey, just real quick, if you guys want to get my information from DJ, or if you want me to send it out, or if you want to include it on the podcast anyway, or a drop down, feel free to ask DJ. So don't worry about having my phone number or my email for the office put on this podcast. So
yeah, okay, so it's okay to put them on there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate
no problem.
It. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, guys, we want to know, the inquiring minds of Dade County baseball want to know, how'd you guys get started in this endeavor of umpiring? I'll let DJ, since he's the senior citizen of the group. How did you decide to be umpiring here?
I do think you have me by about 3 years. I love the game of baseball. I played baseball. I played for Florida Christian. We weren't any good before you got there and turned the program around. I was even worse than that. I was pretty close to terrible. Pretty good scorekeeper, but loved the game of baseball. And when I went to college, there was no way I was good enough to play college baseball. Girl I was going out with their time, her dad was the president of Blades Corey League, and one Friday night he says, "Hey, you need an umpire tomorrow. It's gonna be you." And he was a big guy, so I said, "What the heck?" I did it that Saturday. Got paid $12 cash at the end of the game. You take the game sheet to the concession stand. You made $12 cash and a free Pepsi. Loved it. After the first inning, I said, I was so passionate. I said, I've got to pursue this. And I did.
Wow.
I reached out, asked questions, made phone calls, tried to get as good as I can. Still working on it, obviously. But just loved the game of baseball and wanted to stay involved in some way. And umpiring fell into my lap. And I stuck with it.
So basically, you started with no clue, and
thank you.
We're still here.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
By the way, Rich, I spoke with Butch Carnicero. If you'd like to make an upgrade next week, we could class this place up. I'll get you his number.
Definitely. Jason, how'd you get started in this profession, semi-professional?
I don't have the story that DJ has, but I guess 13 years ago I signed up to officiate without knowing what to expect. So I started off like that. Signed up for high school baseball. I played through high school. I went to Miami Senior High. After that, I got hurt, so I didn't play anymore. and then signed up for this. And 13 years later, here we are. You know, still trying to figure out and get infield fly rules correctly. So I'm working on it.
Okay, so I messed up.
I'm just saying I'm working on it.
You switched that guy. That guy was on second. All of a sudden, you mysteriously, deliciously disappears, and there's no infield fly rule. Okay, I missed one call. I made one mistake. You guys make one an inning, and now I'm the bad guy.
Well, no, I didn't say it was you. I just I'm still learning. But that's
No,
I didn't hear Ernie's name.
I'm still learning too. That learning sounded like Ernie. That's why I jumped in there.
Well, that's true.
And Alec, I know this was supposed to be your second year, correct?
This was my second year, correct?
So let just chime in on how you got started. And I know you played actually more baseball than both those guys combined. So
Yes.
go ahead and chime in.
So I played at St. Brendan all 4 years. Graduated senior year, junior senior year, got a knee injury. Decided to hang it up. Wasn't for me, and wanted to stay into the game. So similar to DJ, I started off at Glades. Just went. I don't even know how. I think I called, and I was like, "Hey, I'm interested in umpiring. Would I be able to, go and get the shirt and hop on the field?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, sure. Come by Thursday night, and you'll be on Friday night at 7 p.m." And I'm like, "All right." So I go, give it a shot, and from that day on, I said, "This is for me. I love it."
Awesome. Did you have to do the plate too?
I think my first couple games, I'd say the first week was bases.
Okay.
The first couple weeks was bases, yeah.
And you're in the process now. Can you share the process that you're in now, or you can't talk about it?
No, sure, yeah. So
Go
the
ahead.
process that I'm in now. So from there, I went to Tamiami. I went to Grapeland and Flagami Park, and I started umpiring for that league, 2 separate leagues. And then from there, I started doing Sunday adult league.
How many pairs of earbuds do you own to do a Grapeland and Tamiami?
So I get to Grapeland, Flagami. I work there. Then I start doing Sunday league. And I do Sunday league for a little bit, meet a guy. He's like, "Hey, you got to get into high school. You're pretty good." And I'm like, "All right, sure. I'll give it a try." They give me DJ's number. I call DJ up. DJ's like, "Yeah, sure. Sign up. We take anybody." So I sign up and I
That's about right.
Ernie says, "Yep, that's about right."
That explains it.
Just like the coaching.
Yeah. Hey, there was a point there that I was gonna start umpiring and say, yeah, go ahead. They take anybody.
So I did first year last year. It was awesome. DJ took a lot of care of me. I was young, so I had a couple coaches, kind of step on me a little bit, kind of players as well, try to step on me because I was so young. But yeah, so I came into my second year, and this past January, I decided to register for the Wendelstedt Umpire School up in Daytona Beach. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. I have way too much love and passion for this game. I'm going to go give it a shot and go to umpire school. So I go to umpire school, Wendelstedt Umpire School up in Ormond Beach from January 1st through February 2nd. There was 150 students from all over the place. I mean, when I tell you all over. And I just went over there. I kept everything to myself. I just did what I had to do, listen to all the instructors. And I graduated, and they offered me a position to the advanced course, which is in Vero Beach, 2 days after the Wendelstedt Umpire School ends. So I believe from February 3rd through the 14th in Vero Beach, there's the advanced course. So I go over there to the advanced course, and it's completely different instructors, completely different everybody. These are actually your instructors that are your supervisors in the minor leagues. So I get there and I do the same thing I learned at school. I didn't change a thing. I worked hard. I listened to everybody, very respectful. And at the end of it, they told me, "Alec, we would like to offer you a job in the minor leagues." And I told them, "Wow, that'll be awesome." And obviously the coronavirus comes and hits and messed everything up. So I would have been up there now, maybe working some extended spring training. I believe the season would have started June 22nd, so in 12 days. But that looks like it's not going to be happening.
Now, what he won't tell you is too humble. Of the 150 students, he finished second in the class out of 150 students.
Yeah.
I told him back in March, I said, "Alec, I think you'll be umpiring. At about this time, you're going to get a phone call that says, we need you to report to," I said the Gulf Coast League just because that's his likely locale, just because he lives here.
Of course. Right.
And so the coronavirus dealt him a and dealt a lot of people significant blows. I feel bad for him. I think he would be umpiring minor league baseball in about a week is when the Gulf Coast League would start.
DJ, I'm sorry, Ernie. DJ, that actually, you almost answered my question. You led into it. Like, you as one of the elder statesmen and who's in charge of.
Okay. I'm 49 here. Let's calm down.
I mean, in the world of officiating, that you're in charge of placing umpires and doing all that. How refreshing is it to have a guy like Alec that has the passion for it? Alec's done a lot of my games, whether they're close or they're not close. Like, he's just very professional. How refreshing it is to have a young man like that has that passion for the craft.
Jason will tell you, we do a certain amount of clinics before the season starts, and we'll have one clinic of just first-year guys, and that's the one I'm most excited about because I get to meet who's joining for the first time. And the first time you see an Alec Sotolongo, Danny Busson, Pablo, the younger guys that we've had join in the past couple of years, you are so excited because, as Ernie said at the beginning, when I first joined, I walk in that room, everybody is older. No problem with that, but you know they're going to be leaving pretty soon, and we need fresh blood. So when you see an Alec and his passion for the game, his passion for umpiring, it just makes you want to. It makes you want to be there. He is so energetic. A lot of time, most of my phone calls I'll get from coaches are negative. I got 5-6 calls from him that were positive. I don't ever get a positive phone call. I had coaches tell me, listen, I want to see this guy. Paul Barrios of Crop calls me, and I told Alec, you're going to Crop? He looked it up on the map. He says, no, DJ, because Crop is pretty much, I think that's in Martin County maybe. He was so well received by players, by coaches. It makes my job a lot easier to have an Alex Sotolongo on the staff.
Oh, he did a game of ours in Key West, and I didn't call just because I thought he was so great, and he blew a call, but I didn't even call. I said, you know what, I'm not going to call. Like, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. I was so good. I'm not going to call DJ.
Was it an infield fly rule call or a catcher's interference call?
Oh, here we go.
Because those two get missed a lot.
Sometimes you just hear things.
By umpires and coaches. I mean,
you're right.
Yeah,
I don't hear things. I just see things that are not there.
I just want to echo DJ's sentiments there. I think that as president of the association, my role, DJ assigns the games. I think my role is really to represent and give a holistic approach to the voice of everyone. Oftentimes I look at this group and I see, the senior individuals that we have that, have been around for several years. I mean, I started when I was 21 as well. Well, Alex probably started much younger.
Like 3 years ago.
Yeah, pretty much a couple of years ago. But I think that what differs from Alec and from some of the young blood that we're looking for is really that passion. I think you can teach some skills of how to call an out, what's a safe. I mean, eyesight is what it is. You're not going to change that on anyone. But I think the passion, and I think the passion that comes out is what really, as coaches, really see out there. When you see someone working hard, hustling, you may not always get the call right. But when that comes out and they're really working hard, it's 90 degrees, they're just working hard for their kids because their mindset and their heart is in the right place. I think we welcome that. We have 70 officials. Not everyone has a heart in the right place. Everyone does it for X, Y, and Z reasons. But I think having the right mindset, and similar to, coaches, this is a job that doesn't pay well. But really, your heart is in the right place, and that really what comes out. And that's what really we're looking for when we're trying to recruit officials and really develop, our association and really try to get to where we're trying to go.
Jason, that's great that you say that. You teach at a university, correct?
Correct.
No,
yes.
man. He's higher than that. He's gonna be humble right now.
He's the president.
We are recording this session, so we got to keep this low key here.
Hey, I don't know tenure. I don't know any of that stuff.
No.
In my conversation with you, you have a very good day job.
Yes.
Let's put it that way. And yes. What brings you out to come out to these games and weekends and whatever it is? What brings you out? Because we've talked enough about Alex, so let's hear about you.
I think what I love this game. I love this game. I look forward to every game that I get. I have a great job. I'm very fortunate. My passion is in education. I teach. I have a full-time job, an administrative role. I also teach 3 classes, and I'm working on my PhD. So, time is really, I can spend my time doing other things, but honestly, when I see an assignment, and I've spoken to this with the other guys, when I see an assignment, I have an opportunity to go out there, I just look forward to it. I'm here staring at the barrel of a baseball that's coming at me if I'm on the plate, or there's a close play at the plate, or there's an infield fly that we need to call. I think there's just a passion that I have, and we try to get it from everyone else, to go out there and have a good time. We passed out a survey a couple years ago, and DJ can attest to this. We asked guys, what is it that you're looking for? Do you want to be close to home officiating? Do you want the best game in the county that week? Do you want a high number of games, or do you want a decent partner out there? And my response to that was, I want to work I don't care if it's 1 game a week, but I want to be able to go out to the field and have a good time with someone, just because I have a passion for this. The guys that are joining in this call also share the same sentiment. So I don't do it because I have to. I really do it because I really enjoy this game.
One of the things that I always admire from umpires is definitely that we not admire, but we ask as coaches is, it's a 50-50 call. You guys are always going to be the one side's going to love you, the other side's not going to like you too much. But hustle, be in position to make a call. We're playing one year against Pace, and there was Duke, the young Duke was umpiring on the bases, and he hustled his butt off of stealing second base, and he got there, he's right on it, and he called the guy out. He called the guy safe. I thought he got him from the dugout, but honestly, from the dugout, I see everything very different than you guys. But so I called timeout, and I'm going out there to talk to him, and Ryan Jackson passes right by me, and I go, Ryan, did you tag him? He goes, no, coach, I missed him. So I'm already there. I already walked out there, and I go right next to Duke, and it was, Duke, I just want to let you know, you made the right call. My guy said he missed him. I walked all the way over here. You better believe me that I'm going to tell you that you're doing a great job. I'm walking away now, all right? Bye. And I walked away. He could not contain himself but with what I was telling him. But sometimes you guys got to hear that, and I make mistakes, and I will tell you, man, you got that. And many times I've done it. Maybe I need to do that more. With DJ, I'll never do that, but with others, I'll probably do a little bit more. But definitely, man, you guys work hard for the little money that you guys make, and we appreciate that you guys are there, because without you guys, we can't play a game. So thank you.
They make more than us, bub. They make more than us.
But
the little money's on you and I. Little money's on you and I, Ernie. They make more than us.
Well,
DJ, question.
Trying to be nice.
Yeah, DJ, question. How has I've been thinking about this a little bit, and Jason has a very good career, and that's not everybody in the umpiring game. How has this impacted you guys and your staff and your crew financially? I don't know. Yeah. Is unemployment, does that count? How is this impacting? Because I know there's tournaments that have been canceled, and these guys make money all summer. So how big of a deal has that been? And have you guys had conversations or talks about it?
It has been a crushing blow for a lot of umpires. I would say half the high school staff just officiates. It may not be just baseball, they do other sports. Maybe not, I don't know, around half. And this has been a killer blow for them. I've heard of some people applying for grants, applying for unemployment. It's not just the high school season where they make a fair amount of money. We have guys in the summer that will make, assuming no rain, they'll make $1,000 a week. The heavy 8 weeks from Memorial Day through the end of July, they could make $7,000, $8,000 if it doesn't rain all that much. And it has been a crushing blow. I get phone calls constantly. DJ, when we playing? Because they see around the state, they've opened up. St. Augustine has a tournament this weekend. They've been playing in Vieira. But down here, I don't believe we're allowed to play anything. I think Palm Beach is going to open July 1st is what I'm hearing.
Mid-July. I think everything's opening up mid-July is what I heard, what I read.
And so I'll be taking those calls, DJ, anything you get, anything. I mean, people call me out of nowhere that barely work. Any game, they'll take it. So it has been a struggle for us.
Yeah,
But I haven't heard of any significant health issues among our staff. So that's the positive thing.
Good.
I mean,
Good.
it's significant money that is made, like you said, during the summer. I mean, there's the leagues that run locally. Anthony at HSBN runs his leagues, runs his tournaments. Like there's so much work out there, and that's what I think about. I mean, luckily as a teacher, I've been collecting, whatever, a couple of bucks every 2 weeks. But I'm just thinking about everyone else, and because in the summer it's hot and like, man. Like I know personally a couple of people that have gone out, had to go out and get, 9-to-5s and figure something out for the time being. And have you guys maybe have you lost any umpires that have said like, look, I might not be able to come back to this because I'm working here or whatever?
I haven't heard that yet. I do sense it may happen, but I haven't heard that specifically.
Now, I also wanted to mention Jeremy, and I wanted to thank Jeremy actually when he was on the line. The state has if you register as an official this year in the 2020 year, the state is waiving the registration fee for next year. They're just carrying that over. Baseball, you do it when you start officiating, you do make some money, you collect the game fee, but it is an expensive sport, as Jeremy alluded to. I mean, you have to register with the local association, you have to register with the state. You have a background check that hopefully you should be able to pass, and that also costs money. And there you have at least $300 in expenses with uniforms, protective gear, so on and so forth. So for someone to really invest in this sport, they're out of the box, probably $400 to $500. And we really want them, that's just the cost of it. That's really the upfront cost of it. By the time you start officiating, I mean, you have to officiate almost at least a dozen games to break even and then begin that process. So, we have a conversation to do as a board, as an association, to really look at, well, the state did this and they're waiving the fees for next year. What can we do to help our officials? We do a minimal fee for officials, just it helps us with some support funds, and really, we've used it for materials, for training purposes, for other things. But we're going to have to sit down as an association event once we're okay to get back up and running, to really figure out what can we do to help out these guys that rely on this. I mean, I think there's a large number of officials that appreciate this. Their income is baseball, and this obviously has affected them. And seeing what we can do as an association really to help out and see, can we waive fees for an entire year? Is that going to break our coffers, or can we move forward with it? So this really did that. It's going to help us. But as Rich, as you mentioned, I think, everyone's impact regarding this is different. You have guys that are sitting on the sidelines and really are responsible, head of households, which just nothing coming in. Others individuals are able to support each other with different family members or different individuals, but it's been tough. It's definitely been tough.
There you go. You look like you wanted to say something.
No, I totally forgot what I was gonna say. But definitely, yeah, I think it's true. I mean, we run into these umpires that that's all they do. That's their livelihood, and it's a shame that through all this, they they got to go out and get a real, a job to be able to definitely support their families, man. So it's definitely been a huge tough time with everybody. Got a couple of fun questions here because
yes, that's where I wanted to go. I wanted to turn the decibel level over to a little bit of fun.
Let's turn it.
Alec, you're not allowed to answer this because you've only coached for 2 years, so
Coach.
you don't have the umpire. You don't have I don't think you have the mental Rolodex to be able to but if you do, go ahead. All right. Oh gosh, how can I say this? Because we can't. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
No. All right. Okay.
Guys, I gotta go. I'm breaking up here.
Notice how Rich put himself on mute already. I mean, that's what we should all do at this point.
He went. I think he went to get another Coke or something.
No,
all right.
Or something.
I'm here.
When you see on the schedule a certain game, okay, and you say, man, I want to do that game. And you decide, I want to do that game because of the coaching or because of the team. When I say coaching, I see just the relationship that you might have with that coach, that professional relationship. Does that go into the decision making of actually assigning the games? Like, if there's a personality conflict with an official, with a coach or something of that nature, does that take it into consideration?
I guess I'll go. Absolutely. As best as I can, I do try to stay away from personality conflicts. If it's a missed call, something like this, I can't really scratch a guy for that. And it goes the other way too, not just keeping coaches apart. And Alec is an example of that. I found spots for Alec. I sent Alec to tougher spots his first and second year because those coaches, they liked him. They got along with him. And I said, well, geez, I'm gonna use this kid. And I have other umpires like that just fit. Sometimes it's very strange. It's an umpire that a lot of coaches dislike. One coach will say, I really like this guy. Sure enough, you can have him.
Ball forward down the middle does that.
I'll say again?
I said ball forward down the middle will do that.
So yes, it absolutely factors in. There's a lot of things you try to factor in making the schedule. Personalities with coaches, personalities with partners. There's guys I won't put together because it's going to be a miserable experience for them, and that's going to translate to the game, and that's going to penalize the kids for something they didn't do.
Definitely, that's tough, man. The partners got to be able to work well together for whatever reason. Stick up for each other, no matter if the call was wrong or whatever. You got to stick to it. I know that happens a lot, and I respect that. So, how can what I want to ask, I can't really word it.
Here's a question I think Ernie's asking. When I see his name on the schedule,
yes,
Ernie, let's get to where I have to go.
There we go. Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
All right, so here we go. When I get an assignment, I think that as an official, you may look at a previous box score, see how the season is sort of going for that team, just to see what's going on. But now if it's the beginning of the season, it's the beginning of the season. You have no information on them. And I think you sort of prepare yourself, or at least I do, of how the coach is going to be. So I know I'm going to get Ernie, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to get a couple jokes, but I know that regardless of what happens in that plate meeting, we're here to play the game of baseball. And I know I'm going to get a couple comments as we have the plate meeting. I also know, by knowing the coach of that team, that you're going to ask probably a little bit more of where pitches were, where does this stand, where does this happen, just because 13 years in the game. I've known you for probably all 13 years, so I know sort of what to expect. If I look at a team and I have no idea who the coach is and I have no idea how the season's going, well, I'm going to go out there with an open mind. I think I'm going to approach a little bit different just to see if I can give this individual the benefit of the doubt. Now, I'm still going to work my game. I'm still going to work just as hard. But unfortunately, I can't have that conversation or that trust yet with the coach simply because I haven't seen them or it's my first time working with them. I think that as an official, you also look at, from a president perspective, I also, and DJ, and I have spoken about this, we try to get to as many schools as possible. So even though that they may be close to home or they're a higher competition of a baseball game, we definitely try to move around. We've gone to the inner city. We've gone to other areas. I'd
like you guys at Keys Gate Charter next year, exit 1.
Well, exit 1 is, it needs to be a 2-digit exit, by the way, 2-digit exit. So that is a rule. But I think that, you look back at your relationship. So Ernie, I'm looking back. I see your name is on my schedule. I'm going to say, okay, let me look back at the relationship. Let me make sure I'm mentally prepared to handle you for that game. And I'm being serious here. Mentally prepared in the sense that I may work a little bit harder just because I know that you're going to be watching even from the dugout because your eyesight is not always 20/20, but I know that you're going to be coming at and questioning me. So I'm going to probably step up my game a little bit. So as a matter of fact, what you do may not be a terrible thing just because some officials are going to be in their game. Now, do I let it get to me? Do I let it impact the way I officiate? Absolutely.
No, you don't.
Does Ernie get a longer leash? That's the question.
Does Ernie get a longer leash? Not necessarily. I think that from my perspective, the way I approach the game, look, I've umpired 13 years. I've only ejected one person. You know, you're out there to work. I think coaches are out there to work. Kids are out there playing the game. They're trying to earn their scholarships. I'm a little bit concerned about that. There are certain things I will not put up with. You know, don't curse. Don't mention anything about my mom. Let's keep this game going. You know, obviously, or anything like that, and let's keep the game moving. I do give the benefit of the doubt to coaches. That way, coaches can handle their teams. I think it's very, very rare where I've seen a coach not been able to handle their team.
Agreed.
I'll piggyback on what Jason said. Is Ernie, and this isn't because you're here, I actually enjoy working for a coach like you that knows the game and knows to pick your spot well. It, like Jason said exactly, it will make me work harder. I worked super hard for Jose Novas. I just loved him my first year. That was the first time I met him. It made me work harder because I knew how he was. He was respectful, but you knew he was paying attention, and I needed to be a better umpire today. So I agree with what Jason said.
Well, Alec, what do you think when you see Ernie's name on the
I'm sorry,
sign?
Jason. DJ, you know, I had that experience as a coach this year because guys that have know me know I'm pretty laid back, man. Like to get me riled up, to even get me to walk out there to do anything. Usually I'm just doing it for show because I'm supposed to argue it. I know that I can't even argue, but I just walk out and be like, hey, man, you know, I'm just out here. I know I can't even appeal this, but
You're good cop to Tito's bad cop. You got
that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. So that's the experience that I've had as a coach. And then this was my first formal year with Tito, and Tito is not like me. So it was kind of like a fun dynamic because, you know, a lot of umpires didn't know that Tito was with us. So there's, oh man, it's just Rich. You know, Rich is cool. Whatever happens, it doesn't matter. And then Tito's there, and you know, and Tito sometimes needs a restraining jacket or order or whatever it is. So I thought that was just fun, just to see the dynamic. I was like, all right. I said, Tito, if I'm gonna get tossed, I'll get tossed. That's fine.
But like Jason said, I'm going to handle the two of you differently.
Right.
Because you're going to get a different leash, and I'm going to handle Tito a little differently than I'm going to handle you.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was Alec. I know you. It's only been 2 years, but I need a story, Bubba. I need a story. Whether it's a parent, whether it's a parent, whether it's a player, telling you that you're 12 and then how you're umpiring. I need a story. I need a story. We need a story. The fans need a story. You know, we're getting 300 views a week, except when we had Baz and Connor on. They only got 204. I got to talk to those guys about that.
Well, a story. What does that I mean? I know when I see Ernie's name on the schedule, I work pretty hard, like DJ said. You know, when I see his name, I work hard. You know, I go over there different. You know, I treat him. I treat everybody the same, but there's little things here and there that I know what to say. I know what not to say when you're dealing with different coaches like that. But a funny story that I have umpiring.
Talk about your warnings. A lot of warnings.
Well, Jason makes fun of me for the amount of warnings I give. I mean, he says I don't know. I guess I give too many warnings there. I don't come through with the ejection. You know, I don't like writing reports. So,
do you carry your birth certificate with you when you get to the field just in case?
I don't. I've never had any. I mean, I've had. I guess I could say that. Like when I worked the Little League, but high school, I've really never had a coach or, I mean, players, yeah, I've had some players talk back, you know, here and there. I've had some guys, you know, I mean, I get it. I'm close to their age, you know, I get it that it's whatever, but I've never really had a coach that, you know, will come at me just because I'm 20. So
I wanted to ask this question. So we get to see our games and our schedules beforehand. So as coaches, when you see us walk onto the field,
oh my God!
Hold on. So wait, to any of those three.
Wait, my wife is calling. What, honey? You need
yeah, exactly.
It's time to go.
Yeah, it's time to go. So what is your perspective? I mean, we have 70 officials. It's very vast. But I think from a coaching perspective, and I'm also curious, this is a second question. So Rich and Ernie, you guys are obviously doing these conversations and these podcasts, and you guys are good friends and you guys can see this, but how do you separate that on the field? So number one is, how do you see us when officials walk in? And number two, how do you really separate that when the game actually begins?
You want to go?
Man,
or I go?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think, honestly, you having seen a lot of you guys umpire, you kind of have a little bit of an idea what the strike zone is going to be and how the game's going to go. And, the game's going to be managing the pace of the game's going to be quick or whatever, just by seeing who's behind the dish. When I see Joe, what's his big, strong Joe, what's his last name?
Joe Art.
Oh,
Revolta. When I see Revolta, I know that strike zone is going to be low, and I know, he's going to quick the game, just like the three gentlemen that are on here. They do a great job of game management, because you want the teams on. Well, the last thing you want to do is a high school game lasting 3.5, 4 hours. And you see some guys, and then you know what to expect, and have an idea of what the strike zone is going to be, and kind of make the adjustment to your team and tell them. But really, it's a matter of just going out there. We can't change the umpire. It's like in life and in baseball, there's controllable aspects and uncontrollable aspects. And we can control how we handle situations, how we go out, how we hustle, how we execute, how we do this, but we can't control the field, the opponent, or the umpires. So we got to forget about what we can't control and control what we can control, and try to do the best of the situation. But honestly, we can't let umpires decide our level of execution, our level of play, our level of intensity, our level of enthusiasm, and definitely that's something that we preach, and we tell our guys, just go out and play the game, man. The only thing we got to worry about is that little white ball. That's the only thing that can beat you in this game. So honestly, I think you were trying to get me to say something like, when I see DJ, do I cringe? Yeah, sometimes, but no, man. Honestly, there's a lot of relationships have been built for a long time, and there's a lot of guys that go out there and do great jobs, man, and do the how can I say this, do the best that they can for the game, and some do really try hard, work hard, and we appreciate that, because like I said, without you guys, we can't have athletics, we can't have games. So that's my 2 cents.
My take on it is, I forgot who said this earlier, but I think Jason, you said this earlier. It was like, you're out there to have a good time, man. Like, we don't make enough money for me to get worked up, for me to get defensive about who's officiating, who the other coach is, what the call was, what the score is. Like, and I don't know if I'm notorious for it, but I mean, Alec has umpired games where I'm down by 10 runs, or it's a 1-1 game, and it doesn't matter. Between innings, we're just chopping it up, and I'm really trying to have as good of a time and there, because it's enjoyable for me to be there with my team, to be there with the other coaches. Like, look, man, there's a lot of legendary guys that are walking high school baseball that don't get the credit that they deserve. And later on down the line, when they retire, they're going to get the credit. And I'm lucky enough to be in that fraternity of guys that I just get to hang out with them between innings, and we can just share stories and stuff like that. Like, I don't take it too seriously. And as far as the umpires go, like, man, the call's the call. When I see Felix, when I see Joe, when I see DJ, I'm like, hey, I get to hang out with this guy today. And maybe I'll jab him a little bit about something that happened, but it's all in good fun. And I just want to have an enjoyable experience. And like, I really don't take it like that. I really think that we are all there for the kids, number one. Like, this is their time. We all played. We all had our moments in the sun. This is their time, and we're just kind of facilitators. And the worst thing that we can do as coaches and even umpires is to bring a spotlight on us. Like, we're the most important thing in that game. And I think we're not. I think the kids are the most important. And if we can keep that in mind, then I think we'll have a good time. I mean, I haven't been Key West since 2016, and I love going down there. I love to go down there. It's my favorite place to play. And they hand it to us all the time. But I love to go down there, man. And
you're a crazy individual. Keep me away from there.
I love it. I love it. I've been going down there since I was a kid, and I love it. Khalil took me deep down there. I love it. It's fun.
I think coaching for 30 years, and I've never played in Key West. Never played in Key West. Never had to, either with the district. So, last question, guys, because I know we've had you guys here for a long time, and it's probably Alex his bedtime, So,
Good one.
Funnest moment you've ever had on a baseball field? Before a game, during a game, funny moments. Tell us some stories. We'll start with you, DJ, since, again, we pay respect to our elders.
Geez, funnest moment. I don't know, my first game is always going to be special. They put me out there. They were playing Lynn University, and it was the opening day for them. It was about 38 degrees, it was cold. I was so bundled up. I was nervous as heck. My first ever game. But they sent me, hey, Lynn, even DJ can't screw that up. And I looked up on the scoreboard. It's the 8th inning. It was 4-4.
Wow.
And I got back into the locker room. I was so nervous. I don't know about drenched, but I was sweating in 38-degree weather.
Wow.
But that will always probably be one of my most special opportunities.
Nice.
Memories.
How about you, Jason?
I think one of the most interesting games that I ever had was a playoff game where DJ, Fernando Verde, and I were at somewhere in Broward County. I forgot the school, but we walk out to the field and we're trying to take control of this game. DJ is probably puking between innings. Probably felt so bad. There was about a 6-inch drop on first base, so every time there was a play, I would trip and fall on first base. Our partner, we sent him to the locker room to change because DJ's about this point is about throwing up so much. I think you had your gallbladder removed.
I had my gallbladder taken out 3 days
So
later.
Oh my God!
This game was a playoff game before deciding someone goes to state, and us three. I mean, it was just a disaster of the game. DJ was in the stands throwing up. Every single time there was a play at first base, and our third guy was in the locker room changing, coming in and out because we didn't know if DJ was going to pass out. We got through that game, but that was probably one of the most interesting games I've ever experienced.
I think you misunderstood. I said funnest moment, not scariest moment.
Yeah, that was.
How about you? How about you, Alec?
I got a couple. I'd say my most memorable game, something that I'll never forget, was my first year working high school. And I went up with DJ and a gentleman named Rob Regan to go work a state semifinal in CenturyLink Sports Complex where the Twins play their minor league. And I worked the state semifinal, and that's an experience. That's a game that I'll never forget. Extra innings, 6-5 walk-off. It was amazing.
Were you behind the plate?
No, I was not. I was working third base that game.
DJ was behind the plate?
Yeah, the
DJ
concession
was-
stand down the right field line.
DJ has a way of getting those games tied somewhere somehow. Well, guys, we've kept you here for over an hour, man.
Ernie, if you don't mind, I don't mean to usurp your show here.
No, go ahead.
I had the opportunity to watch Freddie Zamora last week. Just a classy, super great individual. He has a lot of talent. He's going to go far in baseball. There's not a lot of Freddie Zamoras in this county, but there's still a lot of kids like an Alec. Freddie Zamora played with an Adrian Parra at Killian. These are kids that are great kids, love the game of baseball, share a similar story to me. If you want to stay in the game of baseball, and I know we started off talking about recruiting, umpiring is an avenue. The pay has gone up next year. It's not terrible anymore. You can make a little bit of money. Alex, first year, he did about 40 games. So you can work games. If you obviously, if you want to pursue playing baseball, live your dream. But Alec is an example, and there's a lot of kids like him that want to stay in baseball. And if you want to, we need umpires. Fortunately, you've made the group a little younger. We could still use another 10 Alex Sotolongos.
And how can they reach you? What's your email address, DJ, so they could reach you there?
Email address is Yankees, YANKEES 095 @AOL.com.
You have an AOL. You have an AOL.
And the 095 is from when AOL started.
Oh my God!
That email
What
address.
that thing was like? That thing you dialed up, and then you would hear.
I heard the little thing. I had a stack of those AOL free discs. Yes.
He still dials up. So I mean,
he has dial up, and then his mom would pick up. Mom, I'm using the internet. Put that phone down.
DJ, in all seriousness, man, that's a great thing for you to bring up.
Yes.
Most of my seniors all umpire at the local little leagues, and I've had a few guys that graduated who are now, trying to work at the high school level in tournaments. And I think it's a great thing for them to give back. And B, they're not all going to go play like you said, like Freddie Zamora. And I think it's a great thing you brought up.
Come on over.
We between Jason and I think we do a pretty decent job of educating. If you want to learn and want to get better, that's key. If you're just there for the money, there's not a whole lot we can do with you. But if you want to get better, I mean, we've improved Alec to the point he's better than we can teach him anymore, and he'll go further than I can do for him. But we can get you better if you want to learn. Jason is amazing, does a great job with that.
DJ, we're supposed to have a young, I'm sorry, Ernie. We're supposed to have a young man on today that actually played at Coral Reef, and he got into umpiring. He didn't play college baseball or anything. His name is Hunter Oliva, and he's umpiring in the minors now. He was supposed to come on, and he's a perfect example of like, hey, I'm not going to go play baseball, but officiating, and he's trying to make it to the big. So like that's a perfect example.
I worked a Miami-Dade game with him last year. The first time I met him, I said, who the hell are you? Where'd you come from? Because I thought I knew everybody in Dade County that umpire. He said, no, I just went out of high school, went into umpiring.
I have a funny story with Hunter.
Do you?
Hunter, he was the head of umpires at Glades when I started.
Yes, him and his brother played at Glades.
And funny story, when he worked the Miami-Dade game with DJ, he told DJ, hey, that Alec guy went to umpire school. That guy was horrible at Glades. When I was terrible. But yeah, he's a good guy. I haven't talked to him in a while, but yeah, he's a good guy. He's actually in the minors as well right now.
He was supposed to come on, but he had surgery a couple of days ago. Actually.
Yeah, Alex, some things don't change, man. But listen, on a serious note, and I know that Jason and DJ do a great job, because I know that many a times you train these guys, and we have inter squads, and I'll send you 3 or 4 umpires, and you guys are there and they're learning on the job, and there's nothing like learning on the field, because just from a book and know the rules, great, that's okay, but on the field, where you need to go, where's A position, B, C, and all that stuff, there's nothing like on-hand experience, and you guys do a good job of that. You guys provide 3, 4, sometimes even 5 clinics before the season gets started. You prepare these guys to do their best, so when they let go, then you got to go. So definitely, I thank you guys for the job that you guys do, for the passion you guys have, and the interest to make our game better. Like I said many times, without you guys, we can't not play the game. So thank you guys, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thanks
for having us.
Thanks, Rich.
Appreciate you guys, man. Hope to see you all soon.
Yes,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Ernie, good show, man. Once again, what did you think?
Man, it was great, man. Just listening to all that information, especially from Jeremy Hernandez with the FHSAA, and just how what they went through and the decisions they made, and also how we could get younger and get more officials, man, interested in this game. It'll be clutch and important to keep the cycle going and get young blood every year. It's awesome. We need that. And, there's a lot of experienced umpires out there. They do a good job, but we just, eventually they're going to get tired of it. And definitely we got to keep this going. It was great, man. And these 3 gentlemen kind of like, they're human, and they kind of showed their personalities out here and what we talked about, and definitely their interest in the game that they had, how they got started, man. So it's cool. I thought it was great, man. And I think we got, another great show under our belts.
I think that's one of the most important things that we're getting an opportunity to do, is what you just said, is humanize, man. Because, as a parent, as a coach, as a player, when you look at umpires, you look at them like it's a witch hunt, and they don't really get the credit or respect or anything that they deserve for the job that they do. And it's nice to see, the passion of an Alec and then Jason, who doesn't have to professionally umpire, and he does it because he loves it, and DJ as well. So, and Jeremy from the FHSAA, I thought it was really good that we had him on to give them an opportunity to talk about their point of view, because
correct,
as far as we've known, it's just been heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot of decisions to make, so. Yeah.
And they made a tough one, and you could tell in his voice that he struggled to come up with the words, because there's parents there on the board and that work there also that kind of had to deal with this, and the kids play sports, man. But again, man, just another great show, man. We got another good one next week. We got I don't want to tell you because we want to confirm the 2 guests that are going to come on, but right. It's another important issue that we have in our community that we definitely want to address and see how we can improve it, man. So again, Rich, thanks again for letting me on here and sharing the platform with you, man. It's always awesome to share and talk and have a good time. So I'm out, buddy. Good night.
Hey, hopefully next week we're celebrating Freddie, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, my man. Hopefully, I haven't heard anything, but I think it's probably going to happen tomorrow, is what I've been hearing. So hopefully we could congratulate him on the air. So definitely, man. Good night.
That was great. That was perfect. All right, guys. Thanks, Ernie.
All right.
Later, guys.
Bye-bye, buddy.
All right. Bye.